So we are from group 5 that consists of 5 people. First, Angel Mayluna Guru sendiri. The second is Bethany Guru Supautar. The third one is me, Edward Jonas Tumanggor. And the fourth one is Sarah Ramadhani. And last but not least is Zahwa Nabila Adiza Nasution. So now we're gonna talk about 2 topics, which are the assessing listening and then assessing speaking. So first we're gonna talk about the assessing listening. And the first material will be explained by me, Edward Jonas Tumanggor. So now we're going to talk about introduction. First, what is listening? So, talk about skills. There are 4 skills in English language, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Listening is one of the receptive skills. So there are 2, receptive and productive. So productive to produce something, and receptive to receive something, right? So listening is one of the receptive skills, ladies and gentlemen. What is listening? Listening is a receptive skill that involves understanding spoken language. So when we hear information from many people, from our teacher, from our friends, and then we receive the information, that is the definition of the listening. So listening requires processing sounds, words, and meaning in real time. So when we hear the information, it actually requires the processing sounds, high or down, and then about the words that the speaker said to us, and then the meaning of the words. So we move on to the second material, subtopic. So the next subtopic is why assess listening. Why do we should assess our listening skill? So there are 3 reasons. First, to ensure. It ensures students can comprehend spoken English in different contexts. So when we talk about listening, we also talk about speaking, right? So before we speak, we have to listen the information first, and then we process it in our brain to ensure students can comprehend spoken English in different contexts, such as the academic context, where it is different from when we speak in our daily conversation, right? The second one is it helps identify strengths and areas for improvement. There are strengths and weaknesses of the student self. So when we want to ensure the student can deliver information during a presentation, then we have to know that is their strengths, which one that is their weaknesses. So their weaknesses are the areas for their improvement. So the last is it supports effective communication skills in academic and real-world settings. In academic, when they're during their college, and then real-world settings when they face conversation with native speaker or international conference. So that is the introduction of assessing listening. Thank you, and then I give to the next speaker.
Refers to the ability to identify and distinguish different sounds, stress patterns, rhythm, and intonation in spoken language. For example, learners listen to the similar sounds and identify the differences of the word sounds. For example, the word beat versus peer. We move to the second component of listening the overall the meaning of a spoken text, including the relationship between ideas, context, and implied the meaning. For example, listening to the short message and summarizing the main idea. Three components of listening skill very important for us to increase our listening skills. That is my material. Thank you.
Okay, we move to the next material, types of listening assessments. So this is the types of listening assessment. Selective listening is type of assessments require learners to focus on specific information within a spoken text. Students can mainly listen to a conversation or audio clip and answer questions that target particular details such as names, dates, or key concepts. The second type of listening assessment is extensive listening. This listening involves engaging with longer audio material such as podcasts, audiobooks, or films, with the goal of improving overall comprehension and fluency. In this assessment type, students are encouraged to listen for enjoyment and general understanding rather than focusing on specific details. This approach fosters a more natural acquisition of language and helps learners develop their listening skills in a more holistic manner. The last type of listening assessments is responsive and interactive listening. This assessment type emphasizes the interactive nature of listening, where students must respond to spoken prompts or engage in conversation. It often involves role-play discussions or make a small group discussion in real time. Responsive and interactive listening assessments help students practice their listening in dynamic context and change their ability to understand and react appropriately in conversation. That's all about my material. Thank you. Now we move to the next material, which is listening text formats. There are 4 formats of the text, and we will go through each format one by one. First one is multiple choice questions, or MCQs. MCQs are a common way to test listening skills. Students listen to an audio clip and choose the correct answer from multiple options. You can see the example here. For example, what did the speaker say about the weather? And for example, the answer is A. It will rain tomorrow. The second one, gap fill or clause test. In this format, students fill in the missing word while listening to a passage. For example, the weather forecast says it will be blank 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 tomorrow. If the audio says it's rainy, then you will be ready on the blank blank blank. The next one is true or false questions. Students listen to a statement and decide whether is it true or false based on the audio. For example, the speaker said the train arrives at 5 p.m. Is it true or false? And the last one, dictation and note-taking. This format requires students to write down what they hear or take notes on key information. You can see the example here. The meeting starts at 10 a.m. in rooms 5. Practicing this format can improve overall listening and comprehension. That's all about my material. Thank you.
And the last material for listening is the best practices and challenges. First, I will explain the best practice. Okay, first, use authentic materials. Incorporate real-world materials like podcasts, videos, and actual conversation
assessment more relevant and realistic. Second is use multiple test formats to ensure fairness. Mix various test formats such as individual presentations, pair discussions, and role plays to assess a range of speaking abilities. This approach caters to different learning styles and ensure fairness by evaluating different aspects of speaking, such as fluency, vocabulary, and interaction.
Okay, thank you for your attention until the end of this video. Before we end this video in listening part, I will conclude all of the materials that has been explained before. So we move on to the conclusion. So listening is a receptive skill that is crucial for language comprehension. Again, as I said before in the beginning of this video, listening is a receptive skill, which is receive information from the speaker. That is all listening skill is also crucial for language comprehension because there are two skills, speaking and listening, and the listening is one of the important one, the crucial one. And then the second one, assessment methods vary from discrete point to integrative. From the specific one, like the example that has been explained by Sarah. There is a specific details of example of listening test, and then there is an integrative as well that is asked about the overall understanding of the whole recording audio, like true or false questions. And then the third one, effective listening tasks should be valid, reliable, and also should be practical so that we can use it in our daily conversation. And then the last but not least is assessing listening is essential to ensure learners can process spoken language accurately in academic, professional, and daily communication. So that is our material for this subtopic, listening, assessing listening. Thank you for your attention. And then we move on to the assessing speaking.
So this is our next subtopic is speaking. First, what is speaking? Do you know speaking? Speaking is simply the act of talking or expressing ideas or feelings with our voice. It's how we communicate with others using words, sentences, and sounds. Next, why speaking needs to be assessed in language learning, especially in English. First, assess ability to use English in practice everyday situations. Second, measures how naturally and confidently learners can speak. Third, ensures learners are understood by others. Fourth, evaluates how well learners can engage in conversations and respond to others. And the last not least, helps measure improvement over time in speaking skills. So that's my material to introduce the speaking or assessing speaking. Thank you.
We move to the next material that is about components of speaking skills. So there are 4 types components of speaking skills. The first is pronunciation. Pronunciation refers to the way words and sounds produced in speech. This component we can try with identifying differences between similar sounds. For example, sheep and sheep. Okay, the second component that is fluency. Fluency refers to the ability to speak smoothly and continuously unnecessary pauses or hesitation. So the fluency we can try with talk about a topic for 1 minute without stopping. The next components of speaking skills that is accuracy. Accuracy involves using correct grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure when speaking. So for the example for this component, the first, she go to school, and the second is she goes to school. So the first sentence is incorrect, and the second sentence is correct. This sentence is simple present tense. So in simple present tense, if the subject is singular, so we require a verb ending s or es. So this is incorrect, and the second sentence is correct because we add the es for the ending of the verb. Okay. The last component of speaking skills, that is interaction. Interaction refers to the ability to engage in a conversation, respond appropriately, and keep the communication going. So this component we can try with practicing in real life dialogues with a partner. So that is my explanation about components of speaking skill. Thank you.
Okay, we move to the next material, types of speaking assessments. So this is the types of speaking assessment. The first, imitative speaking. This type of assessment focuses on the ability to reproduce specific sounds, words, or phrases accurately. Learners may be asked to repeat sentences or mimic language dialogues from audio recordings. The second type of speaking assessments is intensive speaking. Intensive speaking assessments require learners to produce language in a controlled manner, often in response to prompt or specific tasks. This may involve reading aloud, delivering short presentation, and engaging in structured dialogues. The third type of speaking assessments is responsive speaking. In responsive speaking assessments, learners are required to respond to questions in a way that demonstrates their understanding and ability to communicate effectively. This could involve answering questions about a text, summarizing information, and providing opinions. Fourth type of speaking assessment is interactive speaking. This type of assessment involves real-time communication between learners, often in pairs or small groups. Activity may include role-plays, discussion, or debates where students must listen, respond, and engage with their small group. Interactive speaking assessment evaluate not only language proficiency but also interpersonal skills and the ability to collaborate in conversation. And the last type of speaking assessments is extensive speaking. Extensive speaking assessments encourage learners to express their ideas, opinion on word topic, often in longer formats. This may include giving presentation, participation in discussion, or engaging in storytelling. By analyzing these diverse types of speaking assessments, educators can gain a comprehensive understanding of students' speaking abilities and provide target support to enhance their communication skills in EFL classroom. That's all about my material. Thank you.
So now we move on to the next material, which is speaking test format. So there are 5 test formats in speaking. So first, oral interview. So oral interview is basically the same task formats that is assessed in IELTS speaking test. So which it is basically a direct conversation to assess fluency. How fluent does someone to answer what the question, and spontaneous responses. After the examiner asks a question, so the tester has to be able to answer the question spontaneously. So the second is about picture description. So this kind of format is usually assessed in Duolingo English test. This picture description is basically there is an image, there is a picture in the letter or in your screen, and then you have to describe all of the details in this image, like how many buildings are there behind of the person. And then the third one is role play. It's basically like drama. It is actually basically enacting out a scenario to assess interactions from one person to another person, and improvisation skills. Like there's a script, right? So the person do not have to like remembering the whole of the dialogues, but they have to make an improvisation from the dialogues. And then the fourth one is about storytelling. So, which is narrating an experience or story to measure cohesion, fluency, and expression. So this is basically the expression one, because storytelling, we tell the listener about a story that is written in a textbook or in our own experience. And then last but not least is about debate and discussion. So debate is it actually as well, and also the speech one, guys. Because there are actually tests evaluate critical thinking and also argumentation, especially in debate, and then interaction in discussion. So in debate, we interact with other debaters, and also when we speak, we actually delivering the materials. How can we deliver the materials well in front of many people? And then the public speaking, we speak in front of many people, like government or the leader of some CEO or stuff like that. So there are 4 speaking test formats in assessing speaking. Thank you. We move on to the next materials.
Move to the next material, challenges and best practices in speaking assessment. There are some challenges. The first one is nervousness or anxiety while speaking. Many students feel nervous during a speaking test, which can affect their performance. They may forget what they want to say or struggle with fluency because of anxiety. This makes difficult to measure their actual speaking ability. And the second one, accent and pronunciation effective understanding. Students have different accents and pronunciation styles depending on their native language. Sometimes this makes it harder for examiners to understand their speech clearly. It can also lead to misunderstandings or unfair judgments. The third, difficulty in maintaining objectivity in scoring. Speaking assessment is more subjective than other language, like reading or writing. Different examiners may have different opinions about fluency, accuracy, or pronunciation. This can make scoring inconsistent and unfair. And then move to the best practices for speaking assessment. The first one, use a clear assessment rubric. To make grading more objective, it's important to use a clear assessment rubric with specific criteria such as fluency, like how smoothly students can speak. And the second one, accuracy, required grammar and vocabulary used. The third, pronunciation, and the last, interaction. playing activities or small group discussions can boost confidence and improve performance. And the last, use a variety of test formats. To make the assessment more fair, it's helpful to use different test formats such as one-on-one interviews. This is to access detailed responses, and then group discussion to evaluate interaction skills, and the last, record speaking test to allow detailed scoring and review. That's all about my material. Thank you so much.
So the next material, which is the last material, is the conclusion of assessing speaking. So when we talk about this speaking assessment, the speaking assessment is to assess the fluency, the accuracy of speaking, pronunciation of every words, and then the interaction between among the speakers. And then we use the various test formats such as interaction, drama, debate, stuff like that, and also the spontaneous question like IELTS. And we also find some challenges like the previous speaker said. One of them is anxiety. So to overcome anxiety, there is also the step that has been explained by the previous speaker. And then combination of assessment techniques ensure fair and accurate evaluation, helping learners improve their speaking proficiency. So we have to combine all of the various test formats to make the learners, which is us also, including us, to improve our speaking proficiency. That is our explanation about the speaking, assessing speaking in this material. Thank you for your attention. Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you for watching.